Let's create this basic and simple landscape by learning the core logic of position and normal selection. Before jumping into a complex terrain, let's look at the absolute basics using a simple cube. The normal node outputs the direction vector that the geometry is facing perpendicular to the surface, which you use when you want to select things based on which way they're pointing, like outward facing walls. The position node outputs the exact 3D coordinates of every point, vertex, or face center based on the origin, letting you select geometry where things are located in space like side boundaries. Now, let's scale that exact same logic up to an organic landscape. We start with a grid node, pass a noise texture through a set position node to warp our flat mesh, and instantly create an organic landscape. To control where things happen on this terrain, we use the normal and position nodes. You'll notice that the position node alone actually selects the entire side of the plane rather than breaking it up by the noise. That's because the position node measures coordinates based on the origin, so it evaluates the overall spatial location across the whole bounding area. The normal node outputs the direction vector perpendicular to the surface, letting us select elements based on which way they are pointing, like steep slopes or flat peaks. Now let's move into part 2 and build out the rest of our node tree. First, we add a store named attribute node to save our initial selection as an attribute named mask. And pass that into another store named attribute node to save it as mask 2. Next, we bring in a blur attribute node to soften our selection. We use this mask 2 attribute inside our shader setup with an attribute node plugged into the factor of a mix shader, letting us blend between two different materials seamlessly. Back in geometry nodes, we add a set material node to apply our custom shader to the terrain. Then we drop in a distribute points on faces node and feed our mask into its selection input so points only scatter on specific areas. We bring in an object info node to reference our tree mesh, connect it to an instance on points node, and use an align rotation to vector node to fix their orientation before joining everything to the final output. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my Patreon for accessing project files.